We are here live at Mayfest 2018. What a gorgeous, wonderful day.
Perfect weather.
I have with me Jonah Spivak.
And I'm with Will Gardner.
You wear hundreds of hats, so I'm not going to try to...
and I brought a hat. I'm not wearing it at the moment, but I have it ready.
Perfect. So what we're going to talk a little bit today is about some exciting things in regards to the Bennington Battle Day Parade. So I'm going to let you take a little bit of a lead and tell us some exciting things that are happening in that realm.
Okay, well, I'll just sort of say in general that as I started thinking about the Battle of Bennington, I started to become aware that we actually have a thing about celebrating this battle. Right. And it's actually unusual because you'd think, okay, every town has a massive monument in the middle of their town proclaiming an event that happened there. Well, surprise, surprise, that's not actually the case. In fact, this is possibly the largest battle memorial in the country. So we kind of wear our pride on our sleeve when it comes to the Battle of Bennington.
Absolutely.
You mentioned the parade.
Yes.
The parade's just an example of one way that we celebrate this battle, not just this year, not just last year, but pretty much every single year since the battle happened in 1777. The first celebration was in 1778. So in a way, we are continuing a very profound tradition.
Excellent. Great. Yes. So, typically the Battle Day Parade, we celebrate the local firefighters and people around. So I think some people were kind of like, that's great, and we want to continue that and keep it going, but let's also bring some awareness to the actual battle.
Yeah.
And let people know about the monument and why there's a monument, and we have this battlefield.
I'm glad to hear that a lot of people know why we have a monument.
Yeah,
it's not actually as widespread as you'd think.
Exactly.
I grew up here,
yeah.
and I knew we had the monument, and I sort of knew a little bit about the battle, but for me it was not an obvious thing.
Right.
But I do want to give a shout out to the fire department, the Bennington Fire Department.
Yep.
For 53 years they have been running the parade, which is pretty extraordinary.
It is.
But we've been celebrating, like I said, far longer than that. And actually, I think one of the earlier celebrations, we invited John Stark, who is one of the heroes of the battle. Right. We invited him to come back to Bennington to celebrate with us. At this time, he was older. He was in his 80s. He couldn't make it, so he wrote a letter to the veterans of the Battle of Bennington, expressing his regret that he couldn't be here to celebrate with us. But he did end with a toast, and the toast was, "Live free or die." That was John Stark's toast to the Battle of Bennington veterans.
Wow.
And hello, it's now the state motto for New Hampshire.
Look at that. So, is that letter anywhere? Just curious that we know of where that letter may have?
I'm so glad you mentioned that because there's actually an effort now to get a copy of that letter and put it on a plaque here in downtown Bennington. And in fact, the idea is they're going to be unveiling it at this year's Bennington Battle Day Parade.
Wow.
So this is something that the town has been working with Phil Pappas and others in the downtown community. So I believe they're talking about including that in the parade, so they'll be bringing the plaque down, they'll present it at the reviewing stand at the parade, and then it will be mounted in a prominent spot downtown so people can read that exact same letter. It's awesome.
So I'm going to throw you a curveball here.
Please.
So you said the fire department has done it for 53 years. Do we know how we celebrated the fire department actually putting on the parade and such? Do we have any idea of what we did all those other years?
Absolutely. There's been a parade most years, but I have to tell you, as I did some of this research looking back in time about how we celebrated, I have been blown away by how big some of these celebrations have been.
Interesting.
Absolutely huge. And in fact, I'll just mention one of the more recent really big ones. 1927, over 100,000 people came to Bennington to celebrate the Battle of Bennington.
Wow.
So that got me thinking. I mean, that was 1927.
Right.
We're now in 2018. 2027's not that far off.
Right.
And I actually started thinking about this.
That's interesting.
Exactly. So 2027 will be the 250th anniversary of the Battle of Bennington and the founding of the Republic of Vermont. So this is a big thing. It's coming up soon. One of the things we're doing to prepare for it is to get legislation through the state of Vermont to create a commission to start planning for the celebration. Because look, it's been almost 100 years since the last really big one.
Yeah,
we're due, right?
It's time. I think it's time. I think the time is right. So tell us a little bit about that initiative then. I know you're working with the local school systems to try to raise some education and some awareness. So give us a quick little insight on that.
Thank you for mentioning that. I really appreciate that. Because the fact is, having a monument as a reminder is great, but the fact is, unless people know about why this was cool, it's not going to have the kind of impact that it should have.
Yep.
It starts with the kids. We got to make sure, and I grew up in Bennington. I have to say probably my biggest exposure to the battle prior to becoming more interested as an adult was probably through the Bennington Museum.
Yes.
It was a nice collection.
Absolutely,
They have
yeah.
some programs around the battle,
Sure.
but it was kind of missing at the school level. So we did a pretty amazing thing. We found a wonderful partner at the Mount Anthony Union Middle School in Amy Moriarty, and as well as incredible support from folks like Tim Payne and Laura Boudreau at the administrative levels to let us do something awesome.
Wonderful.
And what we did is we got a grant. We took basically a third of all the middle schoolers, the White Rocks group, and we did a 2.5-week long program telling them about the Battle of Bennington and culminating in a visit to the Bennington battlefield.
And we were lucky enough, Cat TV, to be there.
Such a pleasure to have you.
And get some of that footage. And Mike Cutler and I went up, and we were blown away by how excited the kids really were. They were really into it. They all seemed very well behaved. Not that they wouldn't be anyway, but they were into it. They loved it. They were focused on it. And that was my biggest takeaway was, this is your first kind of initiative doing this thing. And these kids are really just into it. And this is only going to grow each year. And their excitement level is going to go up each year. So.
Absolutely. I'm hoping that this was a pilot program, but the idea is that we could roll it out for not just the White Rocks group, but all of the Mount Anthony Union Middle School students next year. And hey, don't stop there. Ultimately, this should be statewide.
Absolutely.
We want everyone in the state to be able to use our Battle of Bennington as a teaching tool.
Yeah, this is not just Bennington-centric. This does go throughout the state, so I'm definitely glad you brought that up. Yeah. So hopefully, we'll get this out there. So I'm going to switch gears real quick.
Please.
So from that to Four Corners North Homebrew Fest.
Four Corners North.
So people always say, why is it called Four Corners North? Well, we're in a very cool spot right there, Four Corners North.
Yes,
So we have a group of folks.
So what is it? We should mention
we
geographically.
We should.
Yeah.
You should probably take the lead.
This is good. You've been so much of a partner in this work. So, don't be bashful. But let me start by saying, physically, we all know about Four Corners where the clock is downtown.
Yep.
Four Corners North is 2 blocks north on Route 7.
Yep.
The junction of Route 7 and County Street is what we like to call Four Corners North.
Yep.
And really it's just a device. It's a tool to give people a sense of where we're talking about, and of course where we are is another neighborhood in Bennington, but it happens to have some cool things happening there.
So tell us the partners in Four Corners North.
Yeah, the partners are the Bennington Potters with Sheila Harden,
Sure.
The Catamount Tap House with Alan Cario and Adam Volpe, and then my wife and I over at the Hawkins House. And we also have other partners as well. We recently welcomed Maple Leaf Realty with Kathy Solian to our neighborhood. Of course, we have Earl's next door, and the Blue Bend right around the corner. So I know we're running out of time, and I want to mention the Homebrew Festival.
The Homebrew Fest is a cool thing that we've thrown together. This is actually our 4th year, believe it or not.
Thanks to Will.
I can't believe that.
Who's awesome.
So we have a street festival. We closed down a portion of County Street, small portion, and we have 50 homebrewers, which is great. They bring their delicious home-brewed beverages. Street festival, food trucks. We encourage folks to go check out Hawkins House, check out the Bennington Potters, check out Tap House.
There's tours,
check out
there's
Earl's
kids
too.
activities.
Yeah. So it's family-friendly event.
So it is homebrew, but I'm glad you said family-friendly.
Absolutely.
That is key.
So we'll have live entertainment as well. We got some cool live acts ready to roll that day. Noon, August 4th, and you can get your tickets online for that. We usually don't sell out, but I think this year...
We might. Don't count on it.
I'd get your tickets early. I would. We do have a variety of tickets. They're at their lowest price point right now. We also have designated driver tickets, which are hugely important.
Nice.
Very important. Don't feel like you can't come.
Stay
we do have
safe,
a shuttle
have fun.
that goes from our festival up to the Arts and Crafts Festival, which is also that weekend. So please check out our fest, check out the Arts and Crafts Fest. There's tons to do in Bennington that weekend. So yeah, I think we're going to wrap this up. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you very much, and thank you.
All right.